The dust of the airstrip, fine and red like ground spices, swirled around Dr. Anya Sharma's practical hiking boots as she stepped onto the dry earth. The small propeller plane, a metal bird that had bucked and swayed through the warm African air, now shimmered with heat haze against a sky of impossible blue. Anya adjusted the strap of a small backpack, the weight of her camera and notepad a familiar, comforting presence against her back. Her khaki shirt, crisp as morning, already felt a whisper of the impending humidity. Her gaze keen and intelligent, swept across the sparse landscape. Pastellone, gnarled baobab tree that stood sentinel at the edge of the clearing, and towards the distant, hazy outline of low hills. This was it, the culmination of years of research, countless grant applications, and a burning, insatiable curiosity that had driven her halfway across the world. Anya had come, seeking answers etched in rock. Ancient geological formations whispered to hold secrets that defied conventional understanding. Her academic papers had hinted at the possibility of unique mineral compositions, energy signatures that could rewrite geological textbooks. But privately, in the quiet corners of her own mind, a deeper, almost spiritual pull had beckoned her. She was a scientist, meticulous and empirical, yet she had always harbored a secret fascination with the unexplained, the liminal spaces where science touched myth. Her current destination, a remote Shona village, nestled deep within the Zimbabwean bush, was reputed to be the gateway to one such place. The Whispering Stones, as local legends called them. A battered Land Rover, caked in layers of ochre dust, rumbled to a stop-sighter. A young man, his smile wide and genuine, emerged, introducing himself as Tendai, her local guide and driver. His Shona accent was a melodic counterpoint to the drone of the plane as it powered up for its return. "Dr. Sharma, welcome. We have been expecting you." Anya returned a smile, her enthusiasm momentarily eclipsing the fatigue of her journey. "Thank you, Tendai. It's even more beautiful than I imagined." She meant a vast, unblemished wilderness stretching before them, a stark contrast to the concrete jungles she usually inhabited. The drive to the village was a symphony of new sensations. The scent of sun-baked earth mixed with the faint, sweet perfume of acacia blossoms. The rhythmic hum of cicadas was an incessant backdrop to the rattle of the vehicle. Through the open window, Anya saw flashes of vibrant green scrub, the occasional flash of a bright bird, and once, a fleeting glimpse of a troop of baboons disappearing into the dense foliage. She jotted down observations in her waterproof notepad, her pen scratching against the page, a scientist's reflex. The air grew heavier, thick with an almost tangible quietude that hummed beneath the buzz of insect life. As they approached the village, the landscape softened, trees giving way to cultivated fields of maize and sorghum. Huts with thatched roofs, constructed of mud and dung, clustered together, their walls painted with simple, geometric patterns in ochre and white. Children, their laughter bright and unrestrained, paused their games to stare at the approaching vehicle, their eyes wide with a mixture of curiosity and awe. Chickens scattered, dogs barked, and the scent of wood smoke mingled with the aroma of cooking food. Tendai brought the Land Rover to a gentle stop beneath the shade of a magnificent marula tree, its branches heavy with fruit. "This is our village, Dr. Sharma Kuneswa. We call it the place of revelation." Anya stepped out, feeling the warmth of the sun on her skin, the soft give of the earth beneath her boots. Several villagers emerged from their huts, their expressions a mix of welcoming smiles and quiet observation. Anya felt a slight tremor of anticipation. She was not just here for geology. She was here to bridge worlds, if only for a brief time. Among the group, one figure stood out. She was an elderly woman, her face a map of finely etched lines that spoke of a life lived under this same fierce sun. Her eyes, dark and deep-set, held a profound stillness, a serenity that seemed to emanate from within. She was dressed in layers of vibrantly colored, wrapped fabric, a testament to traditional Shona attire, and intricate beaded necklaces adorned her neck. In her hand, she held a smooth, dark, wooden walking stick, its tip resting lightly on the ground. This, Anya knew, instinctively, must be Elder Amara. Tendai approached the older woman, speaking softly in Shona. Amara's gaze, unblinking, met Anya's. There was no immediate warmth, but also no animosity, only a deep, penetrating assessment that made Anya feel as though her very soul was being weighed. Anya offered a polite, respectful nod, her smile genuine but tinged with a professional deference. Amara responded with a slow, deliberate nod of her own, her lips curving into a faint, knowing smile that did not quite reach her eyes. She spoke, her voice low and resonant, the Shona words like smooth river stones. Tendai translated, "She welcomes you, Dr. Sharma, to our home. She asks, what brings a woman of science to a place of ancient spirits?" Anya took a breath, rehearsing the carefully crafted explanation she had prepared. "Please tell Elder Amara that I am honored to be here. I am a geologist. My work is to study the earth, its formations, its history. I've heard stories of the whispering stones, of their unique properties, and I believe they may hold clues to understanding our planet in a way we haven't before. I am here to learn, to observe, to document." Tendai relayed her words. Amara listened, her expression unchanging, her gaze still fixed on Anya. When Tendai finished, Amara spoke again, her voice a little stronger this time. "The earth does not need documenting, child. It needs listening." Anya felt a flicker of surprise, a small challenge to her scientific objectivity. She suppressed a reflexive retort, and instead offered a thoughtful nod. "Indeed, Elder Amara. And I hope to listen, with all the tools I have." She gestured vaguely to her camera and notepad. Amara's gaze lingered in the instruments, a hint of something unreadable in her eyes. Tools can hear the surface. The heart hears deeper. The initial days in Kineswa were a delicate dance of observation and quiet acclimatization for Anya. She set up her modus camp in a designated area outside the main cluster of huts, respectful of the villagers' space. Her small tent, collapsible table, and solar charger transformed the patch of ground into a temporary field laboratory. She spent her mornings reviewing maps, calibrating her handheld spectrometer, and mentally outlining her research methodology. Her afternoons were dedicated to exploring the immediate vicinity of the village, carefully documenting rock types, soil composition, and existing geological features. Anya found herself drawn to the rhythm of village life. The women, their backs straight, carried water from the well in clay pots, balanced effortlessly on their heads. Men worked in the fields or carved intricate wooden figures under the shade of trees. Children played ancient games, their joyoshas echoing through the air. She observed, camera poised, capturing images of everyday life, not for scientific data, but for a deeper understanding of the context of her research. She ate meals with the villagers, learning to appreciate the taste of a thick maize porridge and the rich, earthy flavors of local greens and stews. Each evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery hues of orange and purple, Anya would find herself drawn to the central fire. Villagers gathered there, sharing stories, laughter, and the gentle camaraderie of community. Amara was almost always present, her serene figure seated a little apart, her gaze often fixed on the flickering flames or the star-dusted sky. Anya would sit quietly, listening to the melodic cadence of the Shona language, picking up a few words here and there from Tendai. One evening, as the stars began to prick through the twilight, Anya found the courage to approach Amara. "Elder Amara," she began, her Shona hesitant but earnest. "Good evening," Amara turned her head slowly, her eyes reflecting the firelight. "Good evening, child. The stars are restless tonight." Anya looked up, marveling at the sheer density of the Milky Way, a river of silver dust stretching across the black velvet. "They are beautiful. I've never seen them so clearly. Back home, the city lights dim them." "The city lights dim many things," Amara murmured, a faint sigh escaping her lips. "They dim the whispers of the earth, the songs of the ancestors, the beat of your own heart." Anya felt a familiar scientific skepticism prickle. "I believe the city offers its own kind of clarity. Elder, progress, innovation, understanding through discovery." Amara finally looked directly at Anya, her gaze piercing. "And what have your cities discovered about true connection? Dr. Sharma, have they learned how to speak to the wind, or coax water from stone, or heal a soul with a song?" Anya seethed, a little uncomfortable. "We have learned to harness the wind for energy, to drill for water deep beneath the earth, to heal bodies with medicine. And music, of course, is a universal language. But not all music is the same, is it?" Amara countered softly. "Some music is for dancing, some is for mourning, some is for calling the spirits, and some is the voice of the earth itself, if you have ears to hear it." Anya fell silent, contemplating Amara's words. It wasn't a challenge to her science, not exactly. It was a challenge to her perspective. This was exactly the cultural insight she had hoped to gain, though she hadn't anticipated it to be quite so poetic or so direct. Over the next few days, Anya continued her reconnaissance, using her camera to document the intricate patterns on ancient granite outcrops and her notepad to sketch geological strata. Her spectrometer, a sleek, modern device, hummed quietly as it analyzed mineral compositions, revealing traces of unusual elements that validated her initial research. The Whispering Stones, a formation several kilometers away, were her primary objective, but Amara had been steadfastly resistant to taking her there, citing the need for patience, for respect. "The stones choose who they speak to," Amara had told her. "They do not give their secrets easily, especially not to those who only seek to take." Anya bristled inwardly at the implication, but outwardly remained calm. "I seek to understand, Elder. To share knowledge, not to take or exploit." Amara had merely offered one of her knowing, almost pitying smiles. "Knowledge, like water, can nourish or drown. It depends on the vessel that carries it." One afternoon, while Anya was meticulously measuring the dip and strike of a schist layer near a dry riverbed, she heard a faint, rhythmic humming. It was low, almost imperceptible, a vibration more than a sound. She paused, her geological hammer resting in her hand, and listened. The humming grew stronger, a deep resonance that seemed to emanate from the very earth beneath her feet. Her scientific instruments, usually so reliable, began to behave erratically. The needle on her compass spun wildly, and her GPS receiver flickered, losing its signal. Anya's heart rate quickened. This was unusual, highly unusual. She sheathed her equipment, then checked it again. There was no explanation. It wasn't a local magnetic anomaly. She'd accounted for that. It felt organic. She walked towards the source of the sound, a primal curiosity overriding her caution. The humming led her to a cluster of massive granite boulders, smooth and rounded by millennia of erosion. They stood like ancient giants, some balanced precariously on others, defying gravity. As she drew closer, the humming intensified, reverberating through her chest. She placed her hand on one of the warm stones and felt a distinct vibration, a low thrumming that seemed to even move deep within the rock itself. This was not a geological phenomenon, she recognized. It was something else. Something alive. Her analytical mind struggled to categorize it, to label it, to reduce it to a known quantity, but the feeling was overwhelming. Oh, a profound sense of being in the presence of something ancient and powerful. She pulled out her camera, snapped a few photos, then remembered Amara's words. The earth needs listening. She lowered the camera, closed her eyes, and simply stood there, absorbing the strange, rhythmic pulse. It felt almost like a heartbeat. The heartbeat of the earth. When she returned to the village, breathless and still vibrating with the experience, she immediately sought out Amara. She found her by the communal cooking fire, stirring a pot of stew. "Elder Amara," Anya began, her voice a little unsteady. "I found something." Near the riverbed. The stones, they were humming. Amara slowly lifted her head, her deep eyes meeting Anya's. There was no surprise in them, only a quiet understanding. "Ah," she said simply. You have met the singing stones. Singing stones. Anya repeated, a frown creasing her brow. But they weren't singing. Not in the way we understand it. It was a vibration, a deep hum. My instruments went wild. Amara smiled, a gentle, almost tender expression. They sing their own song. Child, a song of the earth, of the ancestors, of all thought, has been and all that will be. Your instruments, they are too loud. They try to capture the song, but the song cannot be held. It can only be heard. Anya felt a strange mix of frustration and profound wonder. But scientifically, it's impossible. How do they do it? Is it piezoelectricity? A unique geological resonance? What causes it? Her mind raced through possible explanations, trying to force the phenomenon into a framework she understood. Amara shook her head. You seek to dissect the song, to find its parts, but the song is whole. It is a spirit, a manifestation of the land's ancient power. It is a guardian, a teacher. For generations, my people have come to listen to the singing stones, to seek guidance, to connect with the wisdom of the earth. You mean the whispering stones? Anya asked, a sudden realization dawning. Are the singing stone sands, the whispering stones, the same place? Amara nodded. They are the same. Their whispers are their song. Their song is their truth. Anya felt a thrill of scientific discovery intertwined with a budding, almost unsettling spiritual. This was more than just geology. This was something that touched upon the very core of what she believed, what she understood. Elder Amara, she said, her voice softer now, less demanding. Please, take Metere to the whispering stones. I want to understand, not just scientifically, but in the way you understand. Amara looked at her for a long moment, her eyes searching Anya's. You have listened to the earth, child. That is a good beginning. But to truly hear the whispering stones, you must listen with more than your ears. You must listen with your spirit, with your heart. She paused, then slowly nodded. Tomorrow, at first light, we will go. Anya's heart leaped. A crucial barrier had been overcome. She felt a profound sense of gratitude, not just for the access to a unique geological site, but for the trust Amara was placing in her. The next morning, before the sun had fully cleared the horizon, casting long, ethereal shadows across the savannah, Anya met Amara at the edge of the village. Anya was dressed in the usual practical gear, backpack slung over her shoulder, camera and notepad ready. Amara, however, seemed to have shed some of her customary village attire. She wore simpler, yet still colorful, wrapped fabric that allowed for ease of movement, and her wooden walking stick was held firmly in her hand. Her expression was solemn, almost reverent, as if embarking on a sacred pilgrimage. Tendai, who had been informed of their journey, approached them with a small pouch. Elder Amara, Dr. Sharma, he said, his voice respectful. A little food for your journey, and for good fortune. He offered a small bag of dried fruit and nuts to Anya, and then presented a different, intricately woven pouch to Amara, which she accepted with a quiet nod. Thank you, Tendai, Anya said, genuinely touched by the gesture. She wasn't accustomed to such communal care in her solitary field expeditions. Amara looked towards the east, where the first streaks of dawn were painting the sky in soft pastels. The sun greets us. Let us walk with light. Their journey began in silence, the air cool and crisp, carrying the scent of dew-kissed leaves. They walked single file, Amara leading the way with a surprising agility for her age, her walking stick tapping a soft rhythm against the earth. Anya followed, her boots crunching on dry grass, her eyes scanning the landscape, trying to reconcile her geological maps with the undulating terrain. Initially, Anya's mind was a whirlwind of scientific inquiry. She observed the changing vegetation, the subtle shifts in rock formations, the trajectory of the rising sun. She noted landmarks, mentally mapping their route, wondering about the geological stresses that had shaped this ancient land. She considered pulling out her GPS, but the memory of Amara's words about listening with your heart made her hesitate. She decided to observe, truly observe, without the immediate filter-off technology. As the sun climbed higher, the air grew warmer, the silence broken only by the chirping of unseen birds and the rustle of their movements through the dry grass. Amara maintained a steady pace, her breathing even. Anya, despite her fitness, found herself concentrating, matching Amara's unhurried rhythm. It wasn't a race, but a measured progression. After perhaps an hour, Amara stopped at a small kopje, a granidiate crop that rose gently from the savanna. "We rest here," she announced, her voice soft. They sat on a sun-warmed rock, sharing the dried fruit and nuts Tendai had provided. Anya realized she was genuinely hungry. The simple food tasted more satisfying than any gourmet meal she'd had in a long time. She looked at Amara, who was chewing slowly, her gaze fixed on the distant hills. "Elder Amara," Anya began, after a moment, "do you use maps to navigate?" Amara turned her head, a faint smile touching her lips. "Maps? No, child. I use the sun, the stars, the shape of the trees, the direction the wind blows. Or you see the memories of my ancestors, who walked these paths before me. The land itself is my map. It speaks to those who know how to read its language." Anya considered this. Her own maps were meticulously drawn, based on satellite imagery and topographical surveys. They were precise, but they lacked the living, breathing quality of Amara's method. "And how do you read its language? You look, truly look, not just with your eyes, but with your spirit," Amara explained. "You feel the pulse of the earth. You observe the animals, for they know the safe paths, the water sources. You listen to the stories that the land tells, stories of seasons, of rains, of fires, of life and death. The land is not just dirt and rocks, Dr. Sharma. It is a living being, with a memory deeper than any human could hold." Anya scribbled a note in her pad. Asterisk. Indigenous navigation. Holistic sensory input. Ancestral memory. Ecological observation. Asterisk. She knew her scientific colleagues would likely scoff, but there was a wisdom here she couldn't ignore. They continued their walk, the terrain growing a little more rugged. They passed through groves of mopane trees, their distinctive butterfly-shaped leaves rustling in the breeze. Anya noticed the subtle shifts in the soil, from sandy loam to more iron-rich red earth. She saw signs of animal life, tracks of antelope, the burrow of a warthog, the distant call of a raptor circling overhead. Amara began to speak, her voice a soft murmur that blended with the sounds of the bush. She told stories of the land, not scientific facts, but vibrant narratives. She spoke of the great spirits Moari, who had sculpted the granite copies with his hands. She recounted legends of rainbringers, of ancient healers who drew power from specific trees, of the spiritual significance of various animals. Anya listened, captivated. She felt the narratives beginning to paint a different picture of this landscape than her scientific training had allowed. It was no longer just geological strata and ecosystems. It was a tapestry woven with myth, spirit, and deep reverence. She found herself asking fewer scientific questions and more about the meanings behind Amara's words. "Elder Amara," Anya asked, "at one point, you spoke of the earth having a memory. What kind of memory?" Amara stopped, looking at a gnarled fig tree growing out of a rock crevice, its roots gripping the stone like ancient fingers. "This tree, it remembers the rains that brought it life, the storms that tested its strength. The rock remembers the fire that shaped it, the water that smoothed its skin. The land remembers the footsteps of those who walked upon it, their joys, their sorrows, their prayers. It remembers the very first breath, and it will remember the very last. Everything leaves an imprint. Everything holds a story." Anya felt a shiver, not of cold, but of something profound touching her. Her own scientific understanding of geological time, of strata presivingrex, of millions of years, suddenly felt cold and sterile in comparison to Amara's living, breathing memory. As the day wore on, Anya felt a shift within herself. The initial urge to constantly analyze and categorize began to recede, replaced by a growing sense of openness, a willingness to simply experience. She found herself noticing the delicate patterns on a beetle's carapace, the way the light filtered through the leaves, the specific smell of a flowering bush. Her steps became lighter, more attuned to the uneven ground. They paused again in the shade of a massive baobab tree, its trunk impossibly wide, its branches reaching like roots towards the sky. Amara placed her hand on its rough. "This tree," she said, her voice filled with reverence, "has seen generations come and go. It has stood witness to so much. It holds the wisdom of ages." Anya, without thinking, reached out and touched the bark herself. It felt cool and surprisingly soft, like aged leather. She closed her eyes, trying to imagine the centuries, the millennia. This tree had stood here. The thought was humbling. They walked for several more hours, the sun now directly overhead, casting short, intense shadows. The landscape grew increasingly rocky, dominated by large granite formations that seemed to have been placed by a giant hand. The air grew still, heavy with a sense of anticipation. Finally, Amara stopped at the foot of a particularly imposing granite kopje. It wasn't a single rock, but a sprawling complex of massive boulders, some appearing to defy gravity, perched precariously one upon another. There was a palpable shift in the atmosphere here, a deep stillness that hummed beneath the buzz of insects. "We are here," Amara announced, her voice barely a whisper, "the place of the whispering stones." Anya looked around, her eyes wide with awe. This was far grander than the smaller singing stones she had encountered. The granite giants rose towards the sky, their surfaces weathered into smooth, undulating curves and strange, almost organic shapes. There was an undeniable power radiating from Theplis. She could feel it in the soles of her feet, a faint vibration that resonated through her bones. "My instruments," Anya began, reaching instinctively for a backpack. Amara gently placed a hand on Anya's arm. "Leave them, child. For now, this place asks for silence. It asks for openness. It asks for respect. The stones do not speak to technology. They speak to the heart." Anya hesitated, her scientific instinct warring with profound trust she was developing in Amara. She looked at Amara's calm, knowing face, and then at the imposing, ancient stones. She slowly lowered her hand from her backpack. "Okay," she whispered. "I've listened." Amara led her through a narrow passage between two colossal boulders, their surfaces smooth and cool to the touch. The air within the passage was different, cooler, carrying a faint, earthy scent. As they emerged into a small, enclosed clearing, Anya gasped softly. In the center of the clearing stood a cluster of stones, smaller than the surrounding giants, but arranged in a strangely deliberate formation. They were different in color, too, a lighter, almost luminescent gray, with streaks of iridescent minerals running through them. As Anya focused, she began to hear it. Not a distinct hum, not exactly. It was more like a symphony of soft, almost inaudible sounds. Whispers. They seemed to rise from the stones themselves, carried on the gentle breeze that stirred the leaves of a lone, ancient tree growing nearby. It wasn't human speech, but a complex tapestry of sound, fine simus, deep resonances, soft sighing, and a high-pitched, almost crystalline ringing. It was ethereal, otherworldly, and utterly breathtaking. Anya found herself holding her breath, her scientific mind struggling to reconcile what her ears were hearing with any known acoustic phenomenon. She tried to identify patterns, frequencies, sources, but it defied analysis. It was too vast, too intricate, too organic. She felt tears welling in her eyes, a completely unexpected emotional response. This was not just a geological wonder, it was something else entirely. It was beautiful. Amara stood beside her, her head slightly tilted, her eyes closed, a look of profound peace on her face. She began to chant, a low, melodic sound that blended seamlessly with the whispers of the stones. Her voice was ancient, carrying the weight of generations, a song that seemed to speak directly to the earth. Anya closed her eyes, letting the combined sounds wash over her. She felt the vibrations in her chest, a gentle tremor that seemed to align with her own heartbeat. Her mind, usually so active, so analytical, began to quiet. Thoughts drifted away like smoke. She felt a connection, a deep, resonant hum that seemed to link her to the stones, to Amara, to the very fabric of the earth beneath her feet. She wasn't just observing anymore. She was part asterisk of it. The scientific detachment she had always prized melted away, replaced by an overwhelming sense of belonging, of being connected to something infinitely larger and older than herself. The whispers seemed to tell stories, not in words, but in feelings. Echoes of vast time, of ancient life, of profound wisdom. She felt a lightness, a transcendence, as if the barriere around her was infused with consciousness. Hours passed, or perhaps only minutes. Time seemed to lose its meaning in that sacred space. The sun moved across the sky, painting the clearing with shifting patterns of light and shadow. But the whispers continued, a constant, comforting presence. Finally, Amara's chanting faded. She opened her eyes, her gaze clear and luminous. "They have spoken to you," she said, her voice soft, yet filled with a knowing power. "What have you heard, child?" Anya opened her own eyes, feeling them wet with unshed tears. She found herself unable to speak, overcome by emotion. How could she put into words what she had experienced? How could she explain the feeling of ancient memory flowing through her, the sense of interconnectedness, the profound peace that had settled in her soul? I don't know," Anya whispered, her voice husky. It wasn't words. It was a feeling, a memory, a deep, ancient knowing. I felt connected, like I was part of everything. She looked at Amara, a fragile, vulnerable expression on her face. It was beautiful and terrifying. "It challenges everything I thought I knew." Amara nodded, her smile gentle. "That is the way of true knowledge, Dr. Sharma. It shatters what you think you know, so that you may build anew with a deeper foundation. The whispering stones do not give answers. They awaken the questions within you. They show you the path to wisdom, but you must walk it yourself." Anya sat down on the smooth earth, still trying to process the flood of sensations and emotions. Her scientific mind, which had always sought to define and delineate, now felt stretched, broadened beyond its previous limits. She realized that her initial ambition to simply document these stones now felt utterly insufficient, almost disrespectful. How could you document a feeling? How could you measure a whisper that spoke to the soul? Amara sat beside her, her presence a quiet anchor. "My ancestors," she began, her voice a low narrative. "They learned from these stones. They learned of the cycles of life and death, of the delicate balance of nature. They learned that we are not separate from the earth, but part of Italiano. We are the earth, breathing, moving, thinking. And when we forget this, the earth suffers. And we suffer." Anya looked at her, truly seeing the depth of Amara's wisdom, the profound connection she had to this land and its heritage. "My people, we have forgotten that, haven't we?" Anya mused, a louder voice filled with a sudden, hatching regret. "We have focused so much on conquering, on extracting, on controlling, that we've lost our connection. We've stopped listening." "It is never too late to remember," Amara said, placing a comforting hand on Anya's arm. Her touch was warm, surprisingly strong. "The earth is patient. It waits for us to return to its embrace." Anya felt a renewed wave of emotion. This journey had begun as a scientific expedition, a quest for empirical data. It had become something far more profound. A personal odyssey, a spiritual awakening. She realized that the whispers of the stones weren't just vibrations in rock. They were the collective voice of millennia, of life, of spirit. They were a reminder of a truth her scientific world had largely overlooked. She spent the rest of the afternoon in that sacred clearing, not taking notes, not calibrating instruments, but simply asterisk. Being asterisk, she meditated, allowing the whispers to wash over her, letting the profound sense of connection deepen. She felt the presence of the ancestors Amara spoke of, not as ghostly figures, but as a subtle energy, a knowing wisdom that permeated the very air. She watched as the light shifted, the shadows lengthened, and the stones themselves seemed to change, their colors deepening, their shapes taking on new meaning. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky in fiery oranges and deep purples, Amara rose. "It is time to return, child," she said softly. "The stones have given you much today. Now you must carry their wisdom within you." The walk back to the village was different. Anya no longer felt the analytical urge to map and measure. Instead, she walked with a new awareness, a deeper appreciation for every rustle of leaves, every distant bird call, every subtle shift in the earth beneath her feet. The landscape was no longer just a collection of geological features. It was a living, breathing entity, teeming with stories, with spirit. Her conversations with Amara on the return journey were quieter, punctuated by long periods of comfortable silence. Anya found herself asking about Amara's life, her childhood, the traditions of her people. Amara, in turn, shared more personal anecdotes, tales of her grandmother, of the challenges her village had faced, of the resilience and enduring faith of the Shona people. Anya learned of the importance of community, of respecting elders, of the intricate web of relationships that sustain village life. One evening, by the communal fire, as the aroma of grilling meat filled the air, Anya took out her notepad, not to record data, but to write. She began to articulate her experience at the Whispering Stones, attempting to translate the ineffable into words. It was a struggle, but a necessary one. She realized that her scientific language, so precise and objective, felt inadequate to describe the profound, subjective truth she had encountered. "Elder Amara?" Anya asked. Later that night, as the village settled into a peaceful quietude, "How do you reconcile the physical world with the spiritual?" Amara looked at her, a gentle smile on her face. "There is no reconciliation, child. There is only one world. The physical and the spiritual are two sides of the same cloth, woven together. The stone is physical, yes, but it holds a spirit. The tree is physical, but it has a soul. The body is physical, but it houses the spirit. Your people separate them, and in doing so, they lose the wholeness." Anya pondered this. Her Western education had always drawn clear lines between the tangible and the intangible, the observable and the belief. But here, those lines blurred, dissolved, ceased to exist. She felt a profound sense of liberation in this new perspective. It was not a rejection of science, but an expansion of it. A realization that there were dimensions of reality that her instruments simply could not detect, yet were no less real. Over the next few weeks, Anya did not return to the Whispering Stones with her instruments. Instead, she went back alone, several times, sitting in quiet contemplation, simply listening. She found that each visit brought a new layer of understanding, a deeper sense of peace. The whispers no longer seemed terrifying. They felt like welcoming voices, ancient lullabies. She also began to spend more time with Amara, learning from her, not just about the spiritual significance of the land, but about the practical wisdom of living in harmony with it. She learned about traditional healing plants, about the signs of approaching rain, about the subtle nuances of animal behavior. Amara, in turn, showed a cautious interest in Anya's scientific knowledge. One afternoon, Anya was explaining the concept of plate tectonics, illustrating how continents moved over millions of years, shaping the mountains and valleys. Amara listened patiently, her expression serene. When Anya finished, Amara nodded slowly. "So, the earth itself breathes, and stretches, and moves, like a living being. In a way, yes," Anya confirmed, surprised by Amara's immediate grasp of the core concept, though it's on a much grander, slower scale than human breathing. And when it moves, it creates these mountains, these deep fissures, these places of power. Amara continued, her eyes alight with understanding. "Exactly," Anya said. a flicker effect. And some of those fissures, those movements, release energy, heat, even unique mineral formations. Amara's smile deepened. So, what you call geological formations and unique mineral compositions, my people call the bones and blood of Maori. The spirit made manifest in the earth. The power you seek to measure, we feel as the presence of the ancestors, the breath of the Great Spirit. We are not so different, Dr. Sharma. Your science seeks the same truths as our traditions. You seek to understand asterisk, how asterisk the earth works. We seek to understand asterisk, why asterisk it works, and our place within it. Anya felt a profound sense of connection, a bridge being built between her scientific world and Amara's spiritual one. It wasn't about one being right and the other wrong. It was about different ways of approaching the same fundamental mystery, different lenses through which to view the Sama Magnificent reality. As her time in the village drew to a close, Anya knew she could unsimply pack up her transformed understanding and return to her old life as if nothing had happened. She had come to document, but she had been documented herself, etched with the indelible mark of this land and its people. She felt a responsibility now, a duty that went beyond academic publication. On her final evening, Anya sat with Amara by the dying embers of the communal fire. The village was asleep, and the silence was deep, punctuated only by the distant calls of nocturnal creatures. Elder Amara, Anya began, her voice tinged with melancholy. I leave tomorrow. This journey, it has changed me. I came seeking answers in the rocks, but I found them in the spirit. I found them in your wisdom. I found them in the whispers. Amara reached out, taking Anya's hand in her own. Her skin was warm, calloused, and surprisingly soft. You came with open eyes, child. That is the beginning of wisdom. Now you leave with an open heart. That is the beginning of truth. Anya squeezed Amaresh and I want to do something. Something to honor this place, your people, your wisdom. I want to tell the story, but in a way that truly respects it. Not just as a scientific anomaly, but as a profound spiritual truth. I want to build that bridge. Amara looked at her, a deep, knowing light in her eyes. The whispering stones have chosen you, Dr. Sharma. They have given you a gift. What you do with that gift is your path. Remember this. The earth is not a resource to be exploited. It is our mother, our sustainer, our teacher. Treat it with reverence. Speak for it with a strong voice. And always, always, listen to its whispers, even when you are far away. Anya nodded, tears blurring her vision. I will. I promise. The next morning, as Tendai prepared the Land Rover for the journey back to the airstrip, Aniyo shared a final, heartfelt farewell with Amara. They stood beneath the marula tree, the same tree where they had first met. Go well, child, Amara said, her voice filled with warmth. May your journey be blessed. She reached out and placed a small, smooth river stone, worn perfectly round, into Anya's palm. Keep this. It is a stone of listening. When you feel lost or disconnected, hold it. Remember the whispers? Remember the earth's heart. Anya clutched the stone, its cool smoothness, a tangible link to all she had experienced. Thank you, Elder Amara, for everything. As the Land Rover pulled away, Anya looked back. Amara stood beneath the marula tree, a solitary, dignified figure, watching her go. Anya raised her hand in a final wave, and Amara slowly raised her own, a gesture of peace and enduring connection. The journey back to the airstrip felt different. Desamedus desemsikedas, the same vast sky, but Anya saw it through new eyes. She saw not just the scientific marvels, but the spiritual essence, the interconnectedness of all things. Her notepad, once filled with objective measurements, now contained poetic descriptions, personal reflections, and sketches that tried to capture the feeling of the whispers. Her camera, instead of clinical shots, held images that spoke of life, community, and reverence. On the plain, soaring high above the land that had changed her, Anya held the smooth river stone in her hand. She thought of Amara's words, of the whispering stones, of the profound truth that had been revealed to her. She knew her professional life would never be the same. Her research would incorporate indigenous knowledge, advocating for a holistic approach to understanding the earth, one that honored both science and spirit. She would write not just for academic journals, but for a wider audience, sharing the message of listening, of connection, of reverence for the planet. She realized that the true discovery was not a new geological phenomenon, but a rediscovered humanity, a profound understanding of her place in the vast, intricate tapestry of life. She had come seeking rocks, but had found a spirit that echoed her own, and in doing so, had found herself. The whispers would follow her, a constant, gentle reminder that the earth was alive, and it was always speaking, if only one had the heart to listen.